Hello, crocheters. Welcome everyone to your channel, Mary Tajitos. I'm Mary, and it's a pleasure for me to share a new tutorial with you. For today's class, I bring you this beautiful handbag, crocheted in earth tones, fading from dark brown to light beige. We are going to be working on it with a raised stitch. Look how it appears in a zigzag pattern. It's an eye-catching stitch that makes the bag look unique. Look at all the details here. Look at how beautiful this stitch is. We are going to be using a leather base, and the handles are also made of leather. Look at the stitching. It makes the bag look more eye-catching. Inside, I'll show you how spacious it is, and we will be adding this magnetic clasp. It's a modern, elegant bag with a wonderful stitch, and it's very easy to make. I hope you enjoy the whole process and stay with me until the end of the class. If so, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment as a sign of appreciation. And if you're new to my channel and haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so. And also to turn on the notification bell so that YouTube lets you know every time we upload a new tutorial video. That motivates me to keep sharing a new tutorial with you every week. And it also helps our channel so we can reach people who want to learn this beautiful art. Now, let's go to the list of materials, followed by the step-by-step instructions. Additionally, we will also be working with these materials: scissors, a magnetic clasp with spaces for sewing, a measuring tape, stitch markers, and a personalized tag with the channel's name, 5mm knitting needle. This will be our main needle. 4mm knitting needle, we will use this one to work the base. When you are going to work with a leather base, the first thing you should do is check the size of the spaces. And depending on that size, you will choose the needle. You should keep measuring. Which needle goes in very well into the spaces so that it's comfortable for you to work with? In this case, we're going to be working with the 4mm one. You can replace this base with a base crocheted in single crochet or an oval base with centered stitch. And before starting the whole process, we're going to separate the spaces where we'll make the increases. I've finished placing the markers. We are going to be working 8 increases, a triple increase in each corner. And here in the center, I left 6 stitches free. And in this one, we are going to work a 2-stitch increase. Here, I left 2 stitches free, and in the third one, we are going to make a 2-stitch increase. We repeat this on this side and here. We're going to work the first row, and this one will be made with slip stitches. We take the base with the right side facing forward, and for the yarn, we're going to leave 30 centimeters in length. So, here you can start the first stitch in any of the spaces. I'm going to start it here. I pass the needle through the space. Here I yarn over. I bring it forward and give it a little height. I insert the needle into the next space. I yarn over. I pull up a loop. See that I have 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to slip the first one through the one I already had. I pull up a loop until I reach the next space. I yarn over. And here I slip. I move to the next space. I yarn over. I give height in here. I slip. Here. I go into the next one. I yarn over, lift up, and slide. I go here in the last one, where the stitch is. I yarn over. I pull up a loop, and here I slip. In this round, we won't work any increases. So I move here to the next one. I yarn over and slip here. We're going to make the last stitch, and here we're going to change the yarn. We've also been working with the yarn from the skein. Now we're going to take the yarn we've set aside. So we pass the needle through that last space. We yarn over. We lift up and here we slip. What are we going to do? We pull that yarn through. And with this yarn, we're going to make the closure so we don't have to cut the yarn from the skein. We're going to pass the needle under the first chain, right here on the side. We take the yarn, and we go back. We adjust here very well so that this chain is the same size as the others. So, what are we going to do? We pass the needle through the center of the last chain. From back to front, take the yarn and pull it back. Here we adjust a little bit and see that we have finished the chain just like the others, and we didn't have to cut the yarn coming from the skein. So we adjust a little bit here. And I'll show you how the base looks with this first round. Here, it's very important to keep in mind not to tighten the chains too much so the base doesn't get twisted. If you're working on the base and it's already like this, that's how it looks. You should loosen and give height to the chain so the base stays straight. We need to start with a straight base, just like this. Look how it looks. Now we're going to start the second row, and we're going to work this one with single crochet stitches. We take the yarn coming from the skein and leave the short end aside. So we start here, where the marker is, in the next stitch. This way, we go through the center of the chain. We grab the yarn. Here we add height. We grab the yarn and close the stitch. We continue working with the 4mm hook. We insert the hook into the center of the next chain. We grab the yarn. We lift up. We have 2 loops on the hook. We grab the yarn and pull through both. Here we are making single crochets. We go through the center of the next one. And here we close the stitch. Here we reach the stitch where the marker is. We remove, and here we are going to make an increase of 3 stitches. We pass through the center of the chain. Look, it comes out inside the space. We lift it to the height of the small ear on the hook. We yarn over and make the first increase here. We pass the needle through again. We yarn over. We lift up and make the second stitch here. We pass the needle through again. We lift up and close the third stitch here. We finish the triple increase here, 1, 2, and 3. We work 2 single stitches here, and where the marker is, we will make an increase of 2 stitches. We go here in the center of the chain. And here we make a single crochet, always giving the stitch the height at the level of the little ear that's on the hook. We arrive at the marker. We remove it. And we make an increase of 2 stitches. 1. We pass again. 2. We make 2 stitches, and where the marker is, a triple increase. 1, 2. 3. We work single crochet until we reach the point where the marker is. We get to the point and we remove the marker. And we make the increase here. 1. We go through again. And 2. We work on this side, single stitch here, triple increase here. 2 stitches, increase by 2 stitches. 2 stitches, triple increase. We work on this side until we get here to the last marker. I finished the stitches on this side. Here, I made an increase of 2 stitches. 6 stitches. In the corner, a triple increase. Increase of 2 stitches, triple increase. I worked 6 single stitches. And here in the last stitch where the marker is, we're going to make the increase. We insert the needle and make the first stitch of the increase. We're going to make the second stitch using the short strand because this will be the closing stitch. We pass through the center. We yarn over. And we give it height. And here we close the stitch and pull the yarn through and we pass the needle under the first chain. From back to front, grab the reserved yarn and take it to the back. We pass the needle through the center of the last chain, from back to front, also going under the little ridge. We grab the reserved yarn and take it to the back. We adjust the chain so it's the same size as the others. And here we complete the last increase, finishing the first round of the base with a total of 52 stitches. Please check. If you're wondering, Mary, can I work on this project with another type of material? Of course you can do it. You can use cord, PIP, thread, macrame. Depending on the material, you should adjust the increase stitches at the base accordingly. If you see that it's necessary to make 2 increases on this side, you can do it. Make 1, and on this side, repeat the process. You will see how many increases the base needs, depending on the material. What you need to keep in mind is that the stitches shouldn't look too loose, but not too tight either. Yes, like that. Look how it looks and how the base isn't twisted. See how it's nice and straight. And each stitch is right next to the other. With this round, the base ended up being 22 centimeters long and 12 centimeters wide. Now we're going to work on the body of the bag, and we'll do this with single crochet stitches. We take the base. We turn it, and we're going to insert the needle into the center of the chain, picking up the top loop and the little bump that's on the back of the stitch. Here, we go through the center. Notice that we pick up the back loop, and here we can see the little bump. Here. In this round, we start working with the 5mm hook. We insert the hook into the center of the chain, where we made the join. Here and under the little bump that's on the back side. Here. We take the strand from the skein, and we make the first stitch here. We tighten here and take the opportunity to hide the short strand. We pass the needle through the center of the next chain and under the bump that's on the back. We race it to the height of the little ear that's on the hook, and here we make the second stitch. We go through the center of the next chain and in the back, under the bump. This is how our stitches are looking. We're going to work 1 stitch in the center of each chain, all along the edge of the base, until we get to the last stitch here. We won't work any increases this round. Here we make the last stitch, going through the center of the chain and the little bump that's on the back. We yarn over. We lift up the yarn, and here we close the last stitch. Let's make the closing. We lift up this little loop and pass under the first complete chain. We pass the needle from back to front, grab the yarn, place it on the needle, and take it to the back. Here, we tighten it a little bit. And with this, we've completed the first round. Look how it looks. Here, we worked a total of 52 stitches, which is the same number of stitches we finished the last round of the base with. So, look at how the stitches look. See how we separated the base from the body of the bag with this strand. Look how pretty it looks. Whenever you finish a round, adjust the stitches so that they start taking their shape. Look how they're turning out. Now we're going to start the second round, and we'll also do this one with single crochet stitches. So to open it, we're going to pass the needle under the strand that we brought to the back. Look, right here in this space, we place the reserved loop on the needle and we're going to tighten it. We tighten this strand until it's the same size as the other stitches. We yarn over. We bring it forward, lift it up, and here we close the stitch. We have our first single crochet. Here, we are going to work the second row under the entire chain. Here. See, it's under the entire chain. Here in these spaces. We pass the needle through, yarn over. We have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and close the stitch. We pass the needle under the next chain. Here we close the stitch under the next one. Yarn over. We have 2. Yarn over and close. Here. This is how our stitches are looking. We are going to continue working single crochet all along the edge of the base until we get here to the last stitch. When you reach the last stitch, go under the entire chain, yarn over, and here we make a single crochet. We make the closure, give some height to this little ear, and go under the first chain. Look here! From back to front, we place the reserved little ear on the needle and take it to the back. This way, we have closed the second round, and we will do the same in every round. Here, we finish the second round, and look how the stitches turn out. If you see that they're not very tight, because if we tighten the stitch more, the base will start to shrink. So as we go up, it will keep closing. So we must always maintain the same tension throughout the entire piece so that the body of the bag goes up straight. Now we're going to start the third round. I want you to pay close attention to this step, because here we're going to start the stitch pattern that we'll use to combine the rise of the body of the bag. What does this mean? That we'll be working 2 rounds with single crochet and the third one with the stitch pattern. 2 rounds with single crochet and the third with the stitch pattern. So here, we're going to insert the needle through the center of the stitch where we brought the yarn to the back. It won't be under the yarn anymore, but right in the center of that stitch. Here. Look, here is the stitch, the yarn goes over it, and here are 2 little loops or 2 strands. We go through the center, and it should come out here, in the middle of these 2 strands, under the little bump. Here. We pass the needle through the center of that stitch, place the reserved strand on the needle, and here we tighten. We take the yarn and bring it forward. We have a little loop on the hook. Notice that we're not going to close it here. We just leave this little loop on hold, and I'll explain how the process for the next stitch will go. We're going to work this in a zigzag pattern, using slip stitches. And here in the next chain, we're not going to make the stitch. Instead, we're going to go down, look. We find the second chain and go down to the base of the first stitch, where we made the first row down here. Here we make a slip stitch, move to the stitch next to it, and go up. In the center of the stitch, we make a slip stitch. We move to the one next to it, go down to the base, and make a slip stitch. This way, we'll be forming a zigzag. So, we place the little ear here on the hook. We place the second stitch, go through the base, giving height to this little ear. This little ear should reach here. We yarn over, pull through, and here we slip. We give height to this little ear. It should reach here to the center of the next stitch. Look, so we don't get lost. We position ourselves at the stitch next to it, and we know that's where we need to go up. We go through the center. We yarn over, and here we slip. We find the stitch next to it and go to the base of the stitch, right down here. We lift this little loop. Remember that this little loop should reach up here to the stitch. We yarn over and slip here, pull up, place it on the next one, and pull up in the center all the way to the top. We slip, move to the stitch next to it at the base. We slip. So this is how our stitch pattern is turning out. Look, down, up, down, up, down, up. Here we go down, now we go up. Look, here we position ourselves at the stitch next to it and go up through the center of the stitch. We slide. Now we move down, position at the next stitch, and go to the base. Look, that's where the stitch starts. We yarn over and slip here. We go up. We find the stitch next to it and go up to the next one. We are in the center. And we slip. We position ourselves at the point next to it. We go to the base of that point. We yarn over and slip. Here we position ourselves at the stitch next to it. Then we go up. And look how this stitch pattern is turning out. This will allow us to make all the stitches in the corresponding stitch. What does this mean? It means we won't be skipping any stitches because we'll be guided by the stitch that's right next to it. So if I went up here, I follow the stitch that's next to it, and I know that here I should work at the base. I make a slip stitch. Since I worked here at the base, I find the stitch that's next to it here, and I know that's where I should go up and work in the stitch above, passing the needle through the center. And there I slip, always giving this little ear the right height, because this little ear should reach where the next stitch is. I position myself in the next stitch, and since I'm on top, I make the stitch at the base below. Since I'm down here, I move to the stitch next to it and now need to go up, so I go through the center of the next one. Look, we're already here at the second to last stitch, and here in the next chain, that's the last one. This is where we started. See how we brought the yarn down to start the zigzag. So what are we going to do here in the next one? We go up. We go to the chain on the side, and here we go down to the next stitch and place ourselves at the base. We make a slip stitch there. So we finish the zigzag at the bottom, and look, we started at the top. What are we going to do to close it? We raise this little ear a bit. And we're going to pass this little ear under the first chain, this one right here. We pass the needle from back to front. And there we're going to grab the yarn. So in this strand, that's right next to it. That's where we're going to start the next round. We place the little ear on the needle. And we move it back. We adjust a little here, and we can see that we've already closed it correctly. The zigzag stitch sequence. See how we go down to open the stitch and go up to close it. So here I'll show you how the sequence is turning out. Now, as I was saying, it's not very noticeable yet, but as we keep working, we can see the difference in the stitch and how pretty it looks. So, look how it looks. Here we are going to work on row number 4 and number 5 now, and we're going to do these with simple single crochet stitches. Look here, we have taken the yarn to the back, and we're going to go through the strand I showed you earlier, this one right here. We go underneath, place the reserved loop onto the needle. We adjust until this strand, the one that goes up, is the same size as the other strands. We don't want it to end up too tight or too loose. So here we keep checking, here adjusting the tension. Look how it's turning out. We adjust it well here. If you see it's too tight, loosen it a little and fix it here. Take a new strand and pass it under these 2 loops. Give it some height. And here we're going to start the 4th round. And look how perfectly the 3rd round ends. We yarn over and close here, making the first single crochet. We go under the next chain, the one right next to it. Here, and we make a single crochet. We go under the next one. Single crochet. Under the next one. We are going to work single crochet under each chain all along the edge until we get to the last chain. We reach the last stitch, we make a single crochet here. And with this, we finish round number 4. Look at how the stitches look. Now we're going to finish off the round. We give height to this little ear. We pass the needle under the first chain from back to front. We place the reserved little ear on the needle and move it to the back. Here we tighten it very well, and now we start round number 5. Remember that there are 2 rounds with single crochet. We go under the strand that we moved to the back, place the little ear on the needle, and tighten here. To start and finish the rounds of single crochet, you will always do them this way. We yarn over and make the first stitch here. We go under the next chain and work stitches here in the next one. We make the last stitch here. And with this, we finish round number 5. Look at how the stitches look. Now, we're going to do the closing. We lift up this little ear and go under the first chain from back to front. We place the reserved little ear on the needle and move it to the back. Now, we open round number 6, and in this one, we're going to work the stitch pattern. So here, we're not going to open it by passing the needle under the strand, but in the center of the stitch, which is right below where we moved the strand to the back. Look, here is the strand, and down here is the stitch. We go through the center. We place the reserved loop on the needle, adjust. We take the strand. And here we have the first strand. Look, here we have the second chain. We place the needle straight down. We count 1, 2, and in the 3rd stitch. Here we make a slip stitch. Look, it's right here. Where the curve goes down in the zigzag stitch, there we can see a single crochet. We go through the center, make a slip stitch, move to the next stitch, which is right next to it, and go up. 1, 2. Here in the center, slip stitch, move to the stitch next to it. 1, 2. And on the third one, which is where the stitch goes down, there's a stitch there, go through the center, and in the next one, which is where the zigzag goes up. 1 and 2, here we make a slip stitch. We add some height, 3, 4. We move on to the stitch next to it. We go down, and in the center of the third stitch, we yarn over, and here we slip. We use the stitch next to it as a guide. We go up 1, and in the second one, in the center, we insert the needle. And there we slide. We move to the next stitch. We count 1, 2, and in the center of the third one, which is right below, we make a slip stitch. Always giving the stitch a little bit of height. We move here, 1, 2, and the one that's on top. Here we slip. Look how the zigzag is forming. This is a slip stitch. See how it's raised? Because it's on top of the 2 previous rounds of single crochet. So here, we pass the stitch underneath, pull up, 1, 2, pass through the center. And here we slip. Move to the next one, 1, 2, in the center of the third stitch. We slip. See how they follow the same sequence. Down, up, down, up, down, up. So here in the next chain, we go up. And here in the next one, we go down. Let's do the last point and see that here we are up, we move to the next one, and here we do it down. There are 1, 2 left, and on the third point we go through the center. We take the yarn, give it a little height, and here we slip. So, see that here we start at the top, finish at the bottom, and give this little ear some height. And we go under the first complete chain here, from back to front. We take the reserved little ear, we place it on the needle and move it to the back. Look, here we go down, and here, to close, we go up. I finished round number 6, and look how the stitch pattern looks. Look, how beautiful. Here we can notice where the yarn goes up, down, up, down. Look how it looks. Now I'm going to work the 2 rounds with single crochet, number 7 and number 8. Here, I'm going to show you how you're going to start the first round. Here, look, we've taken the yarn to the back, and in the chain that's before this one, we can see the closing of the previous round. Look at it here. We pass the needle under that strand. We place the reserved loop on the needle. We adjust the stitch here a little bit. Let's try not to pull too tight so this strand doesn't get too stretched. We just adjust a little, take the yarn, and here we make the first stitch. Look how the closure turned out. We pass the needle under the next chain, and we make a single crochet under the next one. I'm going to finish this round. I'll do the next one, and I'll see you in round number 9. I finished 2 rounds here with single crochet. And here I wanted to show you that the cord is already fading in color. Look. And here we're fading to green. And from green we fade to beige. Look how beautiful. Honestly, this material is just gorgeous. So here we're going to start round number 9. And we're going to work on the stitch pattern. I'll show you how to start it. I would like to show you the whole process so you can see how the colors are added, but then the tutorial would get too long. Honestly, it's just repeating the process I already explained to you. So here I wanted to explain row number 9, so you can see it now with the other color. Here you open by going through the center. Remember, this is the stitch pattern. We've taken the yarn to the back, and you go through the center. You yarn over. Now there's a small loop on the crochet hook. You are going to move to the next stitch. Count 1, 2, and go into the center of the third one. That's the one at the bottom. Here, slip. Always keeping the height so the stitch doesn't shrink on you. Move to the next stitch, and here, go up. These are going to work continuously. What you're going to do is 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down. We're up, we move to the next stitch, and this one is down. We move to the next stitch. We're down. Now we go up in the center. We move to the next one, down. We move to the next one, up. Look how it goes up, down, up, down. We move to the next one, down. To the next one, up. And that's how I'm going to keep working until I finish the round. From there, I will continue combining the stitch pattern. 2 rounds with single crochet and the third with the stitch pattern. 2 rounds with single crochet and the third with the stitch pattern. I will keep working, and then I'll show you how tall it should be and how many rounds we are going to make. I've finished the bag's height. Look at how the stitches turned out, how the zigzag stitch really stands out. Notice that these are slip stitches in high relief. And look how beautiful the gradient of shades looks. Here, I'll show you so you can appreciate it better. In total, we worked 27 rounds. Remember that each pattern has 3 rounds. 2 rounds with single crochet and the third with the stitch pattern. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For 3 rounds, that's 27 total. If you want the piece a little taller, you keep working the rounds until you reach the desired height. You already know that you need to do 2 rounds with single crochet and the third with the stitch pattern. So far, we have a height of 19 centimeters. Now, to finish the piece, we're going to work 2 rounds, 1 with single crochet and 1 with slip stitch. So we position ourselves here, where we made the zigzag round closure. Notice that we've brought the yarn to the back, under the first chain. Before that chain, we have the closure of the previous round, where we brought the yarn to the back. So we're going to pass the needle under that yarn. And we place the reserved loop on the needle and tighten it a little. We take the yarn, and here we're going to make a single crochet. Look here where we've made the joins with the zigzag stitch row. See how it looks? You can't really tell the difference. And notice that we haven't left a mark either. Here on the inside part, you can't see the join either. It's a very pretty stitch with a beautiful finish. Now we're going to pass the needle under the next chain and make a single crochet here. Single crochet in the next one. Here we make the last stitch. This completes the round of single crochet. Now we are going to make the closing. We give height to this little ear. Look, this little ear has 2 strands. Now we pass the needle under the first chain. We take the little ear and move it to the back. Now we'll separate these 2 strands. And we are going to pass the needle from back to front. This way, we turn the needle here and place the little loop on the needle. Here we tighten a little. We take the yarn, and now we're going to start the round with a slip stitch. We're going to insert the hook into the center of the chain, right here. Insert the hook into the center of the next chain. Yarn over. Raise it up to the level of the loop that's on the hook, and here we slip the first one through the one we already had. This way, we've made our first slip stitch. Insert into the center of the next one, yarn over, and here slip through the center of the next one. Here we're going to raise it up to the level of the loop that's on the hook, so the stitches don't end up too tight. We adjust here, and look, this is how our stitches are turning out. We're going to work a slip stitch in the center of each chain, all along the edge of the bag, until we get to this last stitch. We're going to make the last stitch, insert through the center of the chain, and make a slip stitch here. We cut the yarn on this side. Pull out the loop, and we're going to finish it off here. Passing the needle here, look, this is the first chain. We're going to use a thinner needle to help us. We pass it through the side. We grab the yarn and pull it back. We tighten it here very well and pass the needle again through the center of the last chain, from back to front. We grab the yarn and pull it back. See how we've simulated a chain here? We tighten it very well until this chain is the same size as the others. Now we're going to hide this yarn under the stitches. We cut the excess, burn the tip so it doesn't come undone. And right here, we seal it. This is how the round looks with a slip stitch. I'll give you the final measurements now. The height is 21 centimeters. The width is 27 centimeters. Now, let's put the handles here. I've already placed the markers. What are you going to do, regardless of the number of stitches you have on the surface? You are going to take the handle and place it in the spot where you want to put it. Whether it's more open here or more in the center, I'm going to place it here, in this spot. So, once I have the place where I want to put it, I'm going to count the stitches I'm going to leave in the center. In this case, I left 11 stitches, and I'm going to place it on this side, leaving the same 11 stitches. Placing the markers. Here, I have 15 free stitches. 15 stitches on this side, and in the center, 11 and 11 stitches. That depends on where you want to place each of the handles. So, we're going to place it here. Look, these have an opening and spaces for sewing. We're going to make this one with the same cord and a yarn needle. So we're placing it here. We're going to make the first stitch here, where the last round of single crochet started. Here, see that it's on top of the marker. So I place it here, and this is where I'm going to sew. I already have the yarn needle threaded with the cord. I go through here from back to front without splitting the cord strand. I go through here in the next one. Here, we're going to leave a space to finish off at the end. So now we pass the needle from back to front, coming out here in the second hole. Look, we're underneath the stitches, here in the single crochet stitches. We arrange the yarn here very well. Right there where the stitch is, we go behind. And we go through here in the last space. Look, it's right here where the row of single crochet is. We're all working in the row of single crochet here. We go through here in the space of the sleeve. We go through here on this side, and here I brought the single crochet. Look, here it fits nice and snug. So here we cut the yarn, leaving a little piece. Before finishing off the seam in the back, make sure the sleeve is properly positioned. Notice that we're sewing in the single crochet stitches. So now we're going to the back part. We'll pass the yarn through here. Very carefully, we're going to pass under the stitches. We pass from this side to the next here. See, we already have both little threads together. What are we doing? We're making a small knot. See, this one stays underneath the stitches. So we're going to take one strand to this side and the other one over here to this side. Here, what are we going to do? Here, we cut. And we're going to burn the tip. Make sure it's really melted, and here we seal it right away. So what happens? The tip is now completely stuck to the knot, and it won't come loose from there. So on this side, we repeat the same process. We hide it under the stitches, and at the end we burn the tip and seal it right away. I finished stitching. Let me show you the result. Look how the threads are well organized. They're tight but not too tight. Try not to pull too hard so you don't damage the leather. And you can also replace these handles with woven handles. Now we're going to attach the magnetic clasp. This process is very simple. It's just sewing back and forth, like when you're attaching a button. So we take the thicker part and we're going to place it on the back of our bag. Here we choose which of the two sides we want as the right side. We place it here on the back, and we're going to sew it where the single crochet row is. See here, we have the ridges, and here you can see the row. We place it underneath so that the clasp is centered on the bag. After we have the clasp well positioned, we are going to sew it with a needle and nylon thread. This is size 30. You are going to pass the needle back and forth in each space until the clasp is well secured. I finished sewing the clasp. Here, I did a simple stitch in each space, back and forth, until the clasp was well secured. So, to finish off, we passed the needle here under the cord. See that here we make a little knot. We bring it down here underneath. We cut up to the thread. We make 2 little knots here. We hide the excess under the cord, here under the stitches. Here we cut. And here you're going to burn the tip. Do the same process with the leftover strand on this side. To sew the other part of the clasp, place it on top, arrange the piece here, open it, and here you will do the same process. Simple stitching in each space until the clasp is well secured. We have already placed the clasp. See how it is centered and well secured. Here, I'll take the opportunity to show you how spacious the bag is inside, and to tell you that if you're interested in making the lining, I'll leave the link to the step-by-step tutorial in the video description so you can do the whole process. We finished the whole process, and this is how the bag turned out. Look how beautiful it is. It's a very detailed, very pretty bag. If you want to add a tassel or an extra accessory, you can do it. But I think it stands out on its own. The beauty stands out. Look at the stitches, the base, how pretty it is. Look at how the handles look here. I really like how the stitching stands out. Honestly, it makes it look unique, but elegant. I really like the color gradient. Honestly, the material surprised me. It's excellent. And you can choose the gradient in the shade you like the most. There are a variety of colors. From the top in the center, it ended up being 21 centimeters tall. That's the height, including the handles. 34 centimeters. Wide at the top. 28 centimeters. And at the base, 22 centimeters wide. With all the accessories, the bag ended up weighing 550 grams. Also remember that you can adapt this process to the material you have available. You can use cord, PIP, thread, macrame, or you can also use t-shirt yarn. And the measurements and weight may vary depending on the material you use. We've reached the end of the class. I hope you enjoyed the whole process and that you put it into practice. If that's the case, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment as a sign of appreciation. This is very important to me because you motivate me to keep sharing a new tutorial with you every week. And if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so. Also, turn on the notification bell so YouTube will let you know every time we upload a new class. See you in the next class. God bless you. Bye.